Hello everyone, Anthony here with the Bloody Point. Yes, it is PlanetSide 2. PlanetSide 2 is going to have its 20-year anniversary on Saturday, the 20th, and I have started playing the game again. I played almost exactly a year ago and haven't touched it in that time, but with this new Fortification update, changes to the construction system, and a bunch of other updates and modifications to the game, I've decided to take another look at it. The game, as always, is fun. In fact, when I think about why am I not playing this game, or why do I bother playing anything else, it always, after a couple of days, reminds me, oh yeah, it's because I end up playing for 8 or 12 hours at a time. It's just too engrossing, and it's just too much. It's like a bad drug addiction. So I'm back at playing it, and one of the first things I did was look at the new construction system. And something that occurred to me, or happened to me, I should say, is when playing, I noticed they have a new construction-centric mission, which is supposed to, I suppose, introduce people new to construction in general, or people new to the current update to some of the new elements of it. They've made major modifications to how some things in construction work, such as the addition of modules that you slot onto existing structures, as opposed to independent modules that we used to build previously on the ground. A bunch of new buildings. There's some other changes as well. In any case, the game has, I suppose you would call it a tutorial, but it's part of the mission system. If you haven't played PlanetSide 2 in a long time, you won't even be familiar with the mission system, because it is also somewhat new, I suppose. When you're talking about a 20-year game and development throughout that time, something that is considered new in that context could be several years old. In any case, the construction-based mission, which is has been added for this event, the 20-year anniversary event, it will introduce some of the new concepts, and you will find it in the mission area. Now, the thing I wanted to mention, which is very important, is that the sequence of missions will grant you free items, free construction unlocks, and if you do it to completion, you'll get 2K certs worth of items or unlocks. However, if you don't notice that or don't do it first, and you spend those 2K certs, you're not getting those back. So the things it unlocks here, as you can see, is the infantry tree stand, and it also unlocks the equipment terminal module. So if you're interested in construction, make sure you do this mission, the training day harvesting mission, first before spending the certs, because you'll kick yourself. So just wanted to get that out there. As for the game itself, so here I started up my first session planning to do that mission. I have my ant here, and you see the little text on the screen telling you what to do. I ran out to find some cordium. The game really feels great. Like having the experience of coming back to this game on a regular basis every couple years, and then playing it like mad for months, and then stopping and coming back years again. And you get this feeling every time you come back of just how good it is. Not just in terms of how good the gameplay is, but all the different systems, from the UI down to the responsivity of the controls. They really have done a great job of making vehicular combat, air combat, infantry combat. You have, armored vehicles, and you also have now naval vehicles, ships, boats, I suppose you'd call it, as well as the underwater movement on foot. It's all really, really good, just in how it feels. Like it's partially a product of a lot of work over the years, and it has been less good and better at certain points throughout the 20-year history, but it's in a really good place now, and it feels great. It also is one of the few games that can achieve large player numbers in a single battle, and not immediately fall into like this horrible latency issues, or combat feeling floaty, or desync, and all of those things. That can happen to a degree in the worst case scenario, in some cases on certain servers in PlanetSide 2. Let's not kid ourselves, but in general, overall, it's really quite good. So the other thing I wanted to mention for people who are coming back to the game is this tutorial that I spoke about, which gives you the free unlocks. there's a couple bugs associated with it. So the first one you'll see is it instructed me to deploy my ant to access the terminal in the rear of the vehicle. I do that, and it does not prompt me with the next portion of the quest line, which it should. Later on, I did that in a different play session, unbugged, and it did continue the progression. So if that happens to you, keep in mind that there are some of these bugs, and you have to watch out for them. Another issue that I've seen reported is that you unlock the new items through the use of certs. So here you can see I can buy them with certs or cordium, but for new things you unlock them first with certs as you do everything else. However, it appears that it allows you to unlock with certs multiple times. So people are clicking unlock, spending, say, 2,500 certs for something. The unlock button doesn't go away, and they think it didn't work. They haven't tried building it yet, but they think they don't own it, and then they spend the money again. So be very cautious when using that. Just pay attention. So just here's some gameplay. I had built a small roadblock base on Indar, and it was a pretty good example of the importance of these little player-made bases. The base, the construction system has changed to kind of make it more popular, or I suppose more accessible to the average player, with larger structures and some simplification of design. But these small little bases are also important, even if they just slow down in advance. So here the base is drawing fire from the enemy armor. So first of all, they're not attacking friendly armor, and they're taking some fire from my really inaccurate shots. You could tell that I'm out of practice. It's the first day, and I'm not leading these things correctly. I'm not accounting for the drop properly. Anyway, and it also gives a little safe area for the friendly vehicles to back into and repair, which is what you saw in the beginning of the video. I've also drawn some fire from enemy armor coming around the flank to try and take out the shield here. So that this is something, all the good things that a base can do. It's not just about it being a pad for orbitals or artillery or pulling vehicles. Just its presence in a strategic location will be a factor. So the tank's taken down the gate shield, and now it's running into the base. Fortunately, even though I built the base myself, there are a couple of people around, so someone else is going to notice and help defend here. In fact, in a nice little bit of irony, and something that happens often in PlanetSide 2, is you get these little mini stories play out where the mag rider that I was repairing in the very beginning of this particular segment of the video is the one that eventually helps eliminate the tank and defend the base. By myself, without a vehicle terminal here, it would have been pretty difficult, or in fact, equipment terminal. It would be difficult to defend against this tank if I don't have the right loadout. But fortunately, my spandex buddy is here to help save the day. Again, I didn't post this video because it was a long bit of a session, but in the very beginning of my first hour of playing again, I was immediately derailed from the tutorial and thrown into a full-on battle with 100 people involved. It was complete madness and the type of chaos and glorious gameplay that PlanetSide 2 has been offering now for 20 years. It's really pretty much an unprecedented story in gaming, and I don't know why it doesn't get more press. So here we'll end with a little example of the visuals, how the visuals have changed and updated over the years. Here's the same base that I built on the road, but at night the skybox has changed. You can see some of the visuals have changed as well. They did something pretty subtle and interesting with the artillery you saw there. The visual and the sound of the artillery are correctly out of sync, as would be expected for the distance involved. In real world situations, explosions, artillery, etc., of course you see it first, and the sound takes a little longer to travel to you because sound travels slower than light. And here's an example of that, just a little attention to detail kind of thing in PlanetSide 2 that I love. Just amazing. Game is so good. Okay guys, thanks as always for watching. Enjoy the game.